Well, hello. Today is Monday, January 10th. It's time for our weekly meeting highlights. And this week it says, can emojis really help you lose weight? And it tells you to get personal with your tracking. We always start off to see how I did this week. Just as a reminder, last week I lost 2.8 pounds. So let's see how I did this week. I'm very happy with a pound loss. Um, Usually, my past has been that when I have a huge loss, to me, 2.8 loss at my age is a huge loss. Probably at anybody's age, that's a good loss. But I usually follow up the following week with the mindset that, well, you had a big loss. Next week you're going to gain some of it back. But I didn't have that this week. I did eat, if you watched my daily vlog, I did have some pretty big portion sizes. I never had a blue dot last week. I did stay within my points because I used my weeklies. I actually ended up the week with 5 leftover weeklies. So I think that kind of helped me too. I'm getting over not feeling well. So I think that the fact that I wanted to eat a little bit more because it was, I figured out it's starve a fever, feed a cold, because I was really feeding that cold. I ate a lot. But I made healthy food choices. I didn't go off the rails. I had really good choices of my foods. So I think that was part of the reason that I did so well. So I weighed 235.2 this morning with a 1 pound loss, which is 69 pounds. I don't like to set goals, but I would like to be in the 70-pound loss range by the end of the month. So that still gives me 3 weeks, which 3 weeks to lose a pound I think is not an overindulgent goal. So that's my goal, by the end of the month, to be in the 70s with my 70-pound losses. So just going to take it at like little 5-pound increments. So I started with, so now I'm what, 4 pounds? 3.8? So I was like right around 65 pounds. So when I get to 70 pounds, that's my first 5-pound increment. So I'm just working, no set date, no set goal, just a goal of losing 5 pounds at a time. And when I do, I do. So, but anyway, today it's they tell you to get personal with your tracking. Personal Points is all about it. You guessed it, personalization, tracking included. There's no one right way to do it. So you need to find a method that's going to work for you. With the new plan the way it is now, everybody has different points, so it's a little bit more difficult to, like when we were on the blue plan, if somebody was on the blue plan, they could look at my food and say, oh, she's on the blue plan, I can eat that too. You might not be able to eat it, it might be a little bit different points, but I think watching, which I like to do, watch what other people eat, it kind of gives me an idea of different food choices that maybe I didn't think of that I could try. And so that's what I try to do, with showing you my food. My food is pretty much the same. I pretty much eat the same foods, but I do try to change it up a little bit as far as not the certain days. One moment. The elusive Jim. Anyway, I do try to change it up a little bit, not eating I didn't eat as many fruits this past week, only because I didn't have them in the house. I don't know what I had. I never got tested for COVID, although I had the symptoms of COVID, but I didn't want to get out into the public, so I kind of self-isolated, and so I just ate what was in the house. The berries are loaded with antioxidants, which is probably what I probably could have used, but, I made do with what I had. And I lost a pound. That's all. There's nothing to shake a stick at. So different methods that you can do is scan the product. Scan the barcode of a packaged food in the WW app, and it'll automatically calculate the personal point values that are just for you. I did find an error in that because I did buy some Stonefire dippers. And if you buy the dippers, they're only 1 point each. Because even if you track it in your app and you put Stonefire dippers, it comes up 1 point each. But if you buy the actual loaf, the whole loaf of bread, it comes up as 5 points each. So when I scanned the dippers that I had, they must have put the wrong labeling on it. And it came up as 5 points for one dipper, which I didn't think was right. And so I did go into my app and manually type it in. So sometimes if you think something might be too much of a value, just recheck it by typing it in. Make sure you type exactly what it is, and then don't look for something that looks, that looks like it could be. Like the dippers, there's like the Stonefire dippers, there's different sizes, and so there's different points. For some reason, the packaging showed the bigger dipper, and this was just like a regular, normal little dipper that I've always bought that was just 1 point. But always scan something. I like when I'm in the grocery store and I scan something, somebody will come up to me and they'll say, "You're on Weight Watchers, aren't you?" Because it's just a familiar thing. And I don't care. People might think you're just scanning it just to see if it was on your list, because there's a to-do list app that I use that, like you put what your things that you don't want to forget when you're at the grocery store, and you just type it in. It's called To-Do List, and so they might think you're just scanning that to just remove it from your list, or you might be scanning it to keep track of your calculations of how much money you're spending. People don't really care, and if they do, it's none of their business as far as I'm concerned. So I have had people ask me why I'm doing it, and I do tell them I'm on Weight Watchers. This helps me to realize how many points it is. It helps me stay on plan, and they seem generally interested in it. The other thing you can do is pre-track, plan ahead. I don't do the whole week menu, but when I wake up in the morning, I decide what I'm going to eat for the day. I kind of figure out how many points it's going to be, and try to stay within those points. And sometimes I might go a little bit off track because I might be a little hungrier, or I might not be as hungry that day. But let's face it, that doesn't happen very often. At least with me, that doesn't happen very often. But sometimes you just get so busy you forget to eat a meal. I know, who'd ever think you'd forget to eat a meal? But sometimes if you get really busy and distracted, you might forget to eat a meal. That happens to me sometimes, not very often, but I do try to stay busy. Another thing is to use emojis, a fun shortcut. Enter a food emoji into the search bar of our app to quickly pull up your next snack or meal. I never thought of that. I didn't know they did that. So you learn something new every day. Whatever you choose, stick with it. 74% of WW Success Registry members who lost and kept off 20 or more pounds for at least 1 year say they track most of the time or always. I would be in that percentage because I gained 20 pounds last year, but I still tracked and I still measured, and I did keep track of what I was doing, and I did scan a lot of my foods. Now, that's not to say that I didn't go over a little bit. My problem last year was I started to track, like if I had a donut or something, but when I got over my points and I was over my weeklies, I stopped tracking. And I think that because I didn't want to see that number, and I needed to see that number. And I think if I would have done that, I wouldn't have gained 20 pounds. So my plan this year is to track everything I eat, be truthful to myself, and be honest on my app. And at the end of the week, then that'll explain whether I had a really good loss or a really good gain. Not a really good gain, but I mean like a really good gain, like, that was a big gain. And I'll be able to understand why I had such a big gain. And it's going to be because I didn't track honestly. Answer the questions to decide which tracking approach might be right for you. Is it easier for you to track your entire day at once or as you go? Mine is easier to track as I go. I keep a written one and I keep it on my phone. I show my written one on my daily vlog, and it tells me, which is nice about it is I can go back and look at it. Sometimes when you have it on your app, it's a little more difficult, at least for me, to go back and find out exactly what I ate. Whereas if I can just look at it on a written page, it makes it a little bit easier. Do you like tracking before, during, or after you eat? I like tracking before I eat. I like to know exactly what I'm putting into my mouth. I want to know exactly how many points it is, and I want to acknowledge it. And so therefore, when I have a donut, I'm going to put the donut down and I'm going to track the points. Do you save your food and meals in the WW app, or do you start from scratch each time? Some of my foods I am keeping in my app, but for the most part, if I find a recipe when I watch different channels, that I see a recipe that I really like, I print off the recipe, and I do have a recipe book. Let me show you 1 minute. Let me get it for you. I know, I've gone too long. Diane Evans sent me this, and she gave me a bunch of recipes, Weight Watcher recipes. She actually labeled them for me, as you can see. And so when I see other recipes that I like, I pull this book out, I make a copy of the recipe that I like, and I add it to the binder. So Diane, thank you. I do use it quite often. So that really helps me stay on track too. Do you like snapping a photo of your meal and tracking it later? I don't snap pictures of my food, although I do videotape my food, only because I want to show you what I'm eating. If I'm in a restaurant or something, I try to video the food because I like to video the people I'm with, let you know where I'm at, what I'm doing. But I'm not one of these people that snap my picture and put it on Facebook. But I do like seeing pictures of people that snap their picture of their foods and put it on Facebook, because I look at it and I think, boy, that looks so good. It kind of gives me an idea of what I want to do. But I mostly on Facebook just look at other people's channels. I very rarely post anything unless I'm sharing a cartoon or an article that I really liked. But for the most part, I don't put anything on there myself. But I do enjoy looking at people's foods because I get a lot of good ideas. So the second thing they say is, based on your responses, how can you track in a way that works for you? Maybe you'll like taking pictures of your food and tracking all at once, or tracking as you go. You need to figure out what's going to be good for you, what's going to work for you. And once you figure that out and follow that plan, it's definitely going to work for you. I really do believe that, because I do think that when I wasn't showing my food for most of 2021, that's why I gained. I've shown my food now for the 9 days in January, and so far this month I have lost 3.8 pounds. So, right? 2.8, 3.8? Well, I've lost almost 4 pounds this month, and it's simply because I've been showing you my food. When's the best time for you to track? You might track before eating, or set aside a few minutes after each day after finishing your meals. Like I say, I usually track my meals just before I eat them, only because I'm videotaping them and showing them to you. And number 4, now that you have a tracking game plan, how can you set up your environment to help you? With setting a reminder on your phone help. I don't like reminders. I don't like reminders. But if it works for you, try it, definitely. But I think that if you set yourself up by having healthy foods in your pantry and in your refrigerator, and also your freezer, and have things readily available to snack on. A lot of times I do like Cheetos. So I will buy a bag of Cheetos and portion out. It's 5 points for a serving. That's a lot of points, and you don't get very many Cheetos. But sometimes you just want that Cheeto. So if you have them prepped out already in a little baggie, in a snack baggie, you're more likely to stay on plan than if you just open up the bag and say, oh, I don't know exactly how many you get. Maybe you get 10 Cheetos. I don't know for sure. But let's say you get 10 Cheetos, are you really going to go in the bag and count out 10 Cheetos and then stop? If you are, you're a better person than me, because once I reach my hand in the bag, I'm coming out with a handful, and then another handful, and then I'm licking all the little orange cheese off my fingers, which is not really cheese, but but that's what I do. So it's better just to track it and have it handy. And I do that with my pretzels. I do that with my crackers that I like. I like those little Ritz Crisps that taste like a potato chip. I do like that, and it's just easy to grab and keep you on track. To dive a little deeper, it tells you it's no secret that tracking regularly can set you up for success and keep the momentum going. That's because it makes you more aware of your food choices and guides you to a healthier pattern of eating. Having a set plan can help you avoid scrambling in the moment to figure out what may or may not work. If you don't have things pre-portioned out, you might think, I'm just too tired. I don't want to portion out my Cheetos. I'm just going to grab a handful and go with that. Whereas if it's already done, it takes a little bit of time, maybe an hour or 2 hours, like on your shopping days, to portion your stuff out into little portion sizes, clean your fruits and vegetables, things like that. But it's an hour or 2 well spent, because it's going to really help you for the next 6 or 7 days to stay on track. Strive for consistency, not perfection. So many times we get on this and we just think, I got to be perfect. I got to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. There's just nobody perfect. I always like to say there was only one perfect person in the world born, and that was Jesus. And he was the only one that I know of that's perfect. And then even then, he had faults. So it's just not major faults like a human, but you know what I'm saying. But I can't even think if he had a fault. I don't know. Anyway, I have to think on that one. I lost my train of thought. But like I said, don't try to be perfect. Just there's nothing, like somebody that's perfect in everything is kind of a boring person, really. I don't want to be around somebody that everything comes easy to, that some things that they never have to look something up to figure out how to do it. I mean, that would be a boring life to me. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are very smart and they're geniuses and things like that. I understand that, but I would like to think that even no matter how smart they are, that there might be something that they might have to refresh their mind on, because I think it would be boring just to know everything. And coming back to your tracking routine can always help. In fact, it just may be the thing that helps you bounce back stronger than ever. I can tell you that tracking my food this year, and although today's only the 10th, but since I started in January, it's really helped me to stay successful. It really has. And I just know that this is going to be my year. I really do. I really believe that with all my heart. And I am definitely going to do it. The recipe this week is for, waiting for my thing to, Vietnamese beef and broccoli bowl. You get 1 point. I get 1 point from a cup of non-starchy vegetable. It's 9 points. That's awful high because it's the beef probably. Yeah, it's some flank steak, table salt, black pepper, sesame oil, broccoli, ginger, garlic, water, lime juice, fish sauce. Oh, yeah, it's Vietnamese. Jasmine rice, watercress, red onion, cilantro, mint leaves, some shelled pepper, peanuts rather, and some fresh limes. A serving size is 1 3/4 cups. This is not something I'm going to try. I will leave a picture of the beef and broccoli bowl at the end with the recipe in case you want to try it, and then figure it out how many points it is on your plan. So like I said, I lost 1 pound this week, 69-pound loss, 235.2. I'm very happy with that. I'm on my way, just setting little 5-pound goals. So I have 1 more pound to go to get to my first goal, which is 70 pounds lost. And I'm going to do it before the end of the month. I know that. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, share if you think somebody might like to see it. As always, stay safe, and I will talk to you guys on my daily vlog, or I'll see you back here next week.